Tohu is based on JBoss rules and is a set of rule classes and UI components that together generate a web user interface based on a set of business rules. For this screencast, I'm going to use a simple text calculator example that shows how this works. The framework generates a standard HTML output that you can then use style sheets or JavaScript to adjust as you see fit. So for example, start putting in some information. As you'd expect from a rules-based system, it's got basic validation that's again controlled by the rules, and we've got date information that we can enter. You have dynamic display, so if I put no there, I get more information that's popped up. Again, if I put no, there's some more information there. The calculations, again, are all controlled in rules, and as I make those changes, it's get updated in real time. This information is stored in the rules server, and so when I click on done, I can actually access that rules server, pull the information back, and present it, in this case, just a straight dump of the data out to a very simple PDF. So what I'd like to do now is show you how easy it is to change that information. So if I go back to this screen here, it's a little bit cumbersome having everything on one screen. Let's say we wanted to now take this first section here and put it by itself on the first screen and put the calculator on a second screen. Now normally that would be quite an intensive development effort, but I'll show you how it is done in the rule system using Tohu. So here we have the 5 key files for this application. There are 3 rule files and 2 that relate to the user interface, giving quite a clean split between the sort of the back end and the front end effort. So here's the validation DRL, which just at the moment has a GST number validation, very simple one. Here's the calculation DRL, which holds all of the standard tax calculation formulas for GST in New Zealand. And there are multiple ways of editing these DRL files, and I hope to in a later screencast show you the spreadsheet loader that we've also developed to assist with creating these interfaces. And then there's the content DRL, which holds most of the items that get displayed. So we have concepts like a questionnaire, which holds the overall structure of the questionnaire. Then we have questions, which hold the values, and so on and so on. If we have a quick look at the style, then it's fairly standard style sheet stuff. And in the extras JavaScript, we've only actually got one item of interest, which puts a star beside the field to indicate that it's required, as opposed to the standard behavior. So that's an example of adding a little bit of customization for presentation. So if we have a look at the content here, and it's really this section that we want to focus on. So if we look at this, and we want now to have 2 pages, so we create a page 1 entry and a page 2 entry, and then we say for the questionnaire it is an active item of the first page. So that's how we get it onto that first page. It can be any page in the list if you so wish. Now what we need to do is create a couple of groups that hold the elements in the 2 pages. So creating the first group, and it contains the most items in terms of the data entry. So we'll just, we don't need the last 3 because they will appear on the second page. Now we create the second page. And we want to assign the final 3 items that were on the single page version. And then finally we want to insert that group. Right, so what we've, just to recap there, we've said that we want to have the questionnaire to have 2 main items, the page 1 and page 2. We set the active item in order to set the pagination going, and then we create 2 subgroups, page 1 and the page 2, which hold those key details. And if we save this, and if we switch to the terminal, and the server should automatically pick up those changes, and once they're loaded, then we can go back to the application and see the changes. So if now we go back in, now we see the fact that we have 2 pages with a next and a previous, and everything else works as before. So if I miss an extra letter, put it in, all the validations work. And these components are jQuery components, and then we can use the rules again are driving that behavior. And we have our calculations on this page, just putting in extra. And there we have it. Thank you for listening to this screencast.